I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelly.
And we are Sisters in Ebert. Welcome back for another Movie Monday.
Dun-dun.
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 Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun.
Jaws!
1975.
The 50th anniversary was just celebrated in June.
Yep, kids,
Correct.
dust off your squirrels.
Oh, the summer of movies.
We finally have a Summer of Movies movie back again.
And if you're unfamiliar with our squirrel...
Our squirrel rating.
Yes.
Okay, so the way this little baby channel got created, we spent a magical summer.
And beyond.
That started as a summer and was marketed to us as a summer.
And went on for our entire adolescence.
Yes. Where our dad, every day, he was home with us during the day, during the summer. And before he'd go to work, we'd eat lunch together. And he would show us a movie of his choosing.
It was always Dad's choosing.
Well, of course it was. He's not going to watch our choice. Come on. But it's all the movies he liked. And one of them was Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a squirrel rating because there were so many movies. Some we liked. Some were a bit less likely.
Mm-hmm.
And we would sit and look out at our glass sliding door to our wooded backyard. Mm-hmm. And all the squirrels get fed back there.
There's tons of squirrels. They're always running about.
And so we would sometimes look at the second picture instead of the feature film.
So if we weren't interested in the movie Dad was showing us, then we turned our attention to the squirrels. So if we give a high squirrel rating to a movie, that means we were totally focused on the squirrels the whole time.
It was bored to death, hated the movie.
Yes. But if it's low squirrels, that means it's a good movie, and we enjoyed it very much.
Exactly.
So that's our squirrel rating, which you will hear at the end.
At the end, yes. We will rate our squirrels for at the time and currently, too.
Mm-hmm.
So Jaws, 1975. We start with the iconic theme song and underwater footage, followed by someone playing a harmonica by a beach bonfire. And I go, hippies!
A whole bunch of hippies. I said it, too. My husband and I were watching this, and I was like, look at all those hippies on the beach. There's like somebody making out. It's like, it's awkward to be making out in public. Yeah.
Two young adults eye flirt across the fire and decide to swim in the dark. I put always a good idea. Alcohol and night swimming. It's a winning combination. Simpsons reference.
But this girl that was sitting there was just like by the trash. Like, she's not even in like the
I
group.
know.
She's like,
and the guy just sees her like across the way, and
she's like up on the dune behind the trash can, hiding away. I don't know, but
grandma's down at the dune. Okay, and so the kids decide to skinny dip because she's just like off. Like he comes to talk to her, and then she's just running.
And they're running down the beach path, scattering clothes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is gonna be a nightmare to clean all this stuff. To find all your pieces.
Yes.
She had layers among layers among layers. She's just willy-nilly all over this path.
So there's a shot from under the water, which leads to the young lady being attacked. But the guy kind of passed out on the beach. He never even made it in the water.
He was so drunk. He couldn't get undressed. And he ended up falling asleep like at the shoreline. Yeah. So she's out swimming by herself, right by some buoy.
Another great idea.
Yeah.
And the boy was unaffected as he passed out drunk before entering the water.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what really irked me about this scene is, like, it looked like day.
Yes.
Like, I was like, is it sunrise or sunset? And then it's supposed to be, like, the middle of the night. It was so, the lighting was throwing me off of it.
Yeah. The boy was unaffected. Okay. Family recently moved from New York to Amity Island, which is where this is taking place. And the father is on the Amity Police Department. He is the chief, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Their
50th annual regatta is coming up for July 4th.
Another 50th reference.
Yes. The boy from the night before reported the girl was missing when he woke up, and the police felt the girl likely ran off, but revealed that as they were walking down the beach, that a body washed up on shore.
Yes.
Further down the beach, and the father that we see in this family is the police chief.
Yes. So you just see this hand sticking up
with like ring on it, right?
And like tons of crabs crawling all
and
over.
And there's seaweed and debris.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I read that they had like a prosthetic hand, but it didn't look real enough, so they buried a female crew member.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
sand. Now I kind of want to rewatch it.
So it's a real hand. Still attached, but you don't know it.
Oh my gosh.
70s, man. It was wild time.
Yeah. Wild West, man. Wild West. So the coroner has found that the girl died of shark attack and is trying to Martin Brody is the name of the police chief, and he's trying to close the beach, but no beach close signs exist.
Yeah, he was like, where do you keep the closed beach signs? We don't
have
them.
Yeah.
Because he's new, and so he's still learning things about the
Remember
department.
the secretary comes in and she's like hemming and hawing about like some vandalism or something like that? Like these kids.
She like fields these phone calls for all this nonsense on the island. Like they never have real crime
or real issues.
He says at some point like there hasn't been a murder here like ever.
Yeah, exactly. The town is starting 4th of July festivities, and is swarming with tourists. Like everybody's starting to arrive by ferry and things like that.
Not right in the beginning.
No.
Because he says
but they're starting to.
It's slowly trickling. Then there's a moment where
there's an influx later. But that's like all this island is. It's a tourist island. So this is their busy season. This is when they make all their money for the year.
Yeah, so they rely on having those beaches open to bring in the tourists, because if they're not open, they're going to go somewhere else.
The chief orders the beach closed and no swimming, and he's pressured not to close the beach and to keep the tourists for the summer by the mayor. The mayor, I did like his seersucker suits,
though. He had some jazzy outfits.
And his anchor jacket.
Anchors and everything. Oh, he was dressed for the island.
And the coroner even changes his report to it was likely a boat accident. Like she got sucked up in a boat motor.
That is not what you told me on the phone. He's like, oh, I made a mistake.
Yeah, it's like, it probably was that.
Because the mayor told him to say that.
Because the mayor wants to avoid panic. Mm-hmm. Because once you have a shark attack, nobody comes back and blah, blah, blah. So next, all are on the beach, and Alex Kinter is this child, Kintner, and he is allowed only 10 more minutes, Alex Kinter, as your fingers are starting to prune.
You're starting to prune. Yeah. My husband goes, who cares? You're at the beach. What does it matter if he's pruning? Let him swim.
With the oldest looking mother you've ever seen of an 8-year-old boy in your life.
Yes. I don't know how she was able to have this job.
Yes. But yeah, he goes and gets his float or his raft and he goes back out.
Raft, yeah.
Martin is keeping an eye out for sharks, and he keeps having false alarms. People are screaming.
And he's like at the ready looking for a shark, and everybody's like just having a regular beach day.
As his family doesn't fit in for not being born on the island. They're not islanders. They're
this is a real thing in
I believe it. Yeah. I believe it. So, because the wife was asking, well, when will we be considered islanders? Never. You weren't born here.
Yeah.
The boys, there's a boy with a dog in the ocean. He's like throwing a stick in. Yeah. And I put that he goes missing. And I put how? You're watching him the whole time.
Right. So like the dog was like diving into the water to get the stick. And then I could see him like looking away at something and then looking back and he's not there. And you just see the stick floating.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, as soon as I saw that, I got like a sick feeling. I'm like, oh, the poor dog.
I know.
And they never mentioned the dog again.
No. But
Alex Kintner is eaten alive on his raft in plain sight. Everybody can see it. Everybody's like, it's a crowded area too, and he's just like nibbled off.
Yeah, everybody's panicking, and it was bloody.
It was so gross.
Oh, it was so gosh. It was graphic.
Yeah. So immediately though, the kid's not probably even in the ground yet. There's a $3,000 bounty to whoever that Mrs. Kintner offers to whoever can kill the shark that killed Alex, but fears that it will turn into a contest. Like the mayor fears it will turn to, or no, mayor didn't give.
No, mayor was
Brody.
Like, bring him on in.
Brody, who was like, it was worried it's going to turn into a contest.
The chief was like, everybody's just going to be trying to go out there. Money. Everybody's going to be out there when they should be out of the water.
Yeah, exactly. So a town meeting is held, and people are making jokes on how the bounty will be paid, cash or check, and like I'm like, dude, this like for someone who doesn't have any crime, doesn't have any incidents, we're not taking this at all. Like seriously, and it's
two shark attacks in a week.
And it's not like okay, the girls nobody witnessed, but everybody saw Alex Kintner get munched.
Yes, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah, all are upset that Martin is closing the beaches even after 2 shark attacks. And police are bringing in specialists to help from the mainland and, who can help them catch the shark. Mayor says that only will be closed for 24 hours, which Martin didn't agree to. And he's like, wait, I didn't say that. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's only 24 hours. Don't
But all the people in the town are all up in arms because their shops aren't going to have all the business then. But I'm thinking, like...
That's going to drive them to your shop.
But that's what I was thinking. They can't swim, so they're going to be spending their money. Yeah. At this point, everybody's on their way. They can't change their plans this late.
Think about and especially in the 70s.
Like, 70s, 4th of July weekend, every beach town's going to be crazy
Think of
crowded.
every time you've gone to the beach. If it's a rainy day, where is everybody else? Up on the boardwalk, spending money, going to buy.
This seems like a great thing. And they like the mayor's like, we need them we need them swimming.
Yeah.
No, you need them in your town buying all the stuff.
They're not spending money in the ocean, dummy. So there's nails on a chalkboard which stop all the scuttlebutt from the townies.
Which I hated that.
I hated that too.
I was like, ring a seabell.
I know. It's Quint who says that he will catch a shark, but for $10,000, as $3,000 is only enough to find a shark, not to catch the shark, and he values his life more than that.
This is a surly fisherman.
Yes.
For sure.
The mayor will take under advisement. The beach signs are placed to close the beach as Martin studies sharks at home right on the water. Like, his house is right on the water.
It looks so cool.
It was. But I was like, can you imagine when it's like high tide or like there's a storm?
It was definitely like a rundown house too. Like, it wasn't, I shouldn't say rundown, but
it
like
looked gorgeous to me.
It was like
it needed fixing up.
It was getting weathered from where it is located. Yes. But it was a dream
Did
house.
they ever explain why they moved to Amity?
Yes. I forget,
because I didn't catch that.
I think it was something like it was too much.
Was he NYPD before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he talks about like New York City, like it's constant.
Okay.
And I think it was probably the wife.
Did he have an incident maybe?
I don't know for sure, maybe. And I missed
I thought I remembered that when I watched it the last time, but I was watching it this time and I didn't catch it.
It was probably the wife though that was like, you need to simmer down, because he's very high strung.
He is very high strung. Yeah. And like since Summer of Movies, I've seen it twice now. A couple years ago. This was my first time since the summer. Really, we watched it back when I was pregnant with my daughter. We watched it that summer with the older kids, and then so like 3 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So so they're right on the water. He's looking up in books like about sharks, and
he has a lot of material about sharks.
Yeah,
lying around his house.
Right. The wife asks if he wants to get drunk and fool around, and Martin agrees.
I like that part.
Yeah, want to get drunk and fool around? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the sons are. He looks out and realizes that his sons are in a boat that Michael got.
They're like at the dock.
That Martin and his wife got their son Michael for his birthday.
Yeah. So like
sitting in the.
Yeah. So the older boy, that's Michael.
No, the middle. Yeah, or there are only 2.
There's 2.
I was thinking there was 3.
No, there's only 2.
There's only 2. Okay, the older boy is Michael.
Okay, so Michael's sitting in the boat, and then the littler boy is just up on the dock. I feel like he is not watched far too often for how little he is.
And they're right by the water.
He's like 3 or 4.
And nobody's paying attention to these kids by the water. But any of them.
Yeah, and it was like... let's watch this one a little more. But he seems perfectly. He knows don't go in the water. Don't do that. Like he never gets in trouble.
No,
like he's always where he should be. But it's
and he listens to direction. Right. When they say don't go in.
It was making me nervous.
Me too. Me too. And even without there being a shark issue, I was like,
just drowning. Yes. That's scary enough. Kidnapping. Something.
Yeah. So at first the wife thinks it's fine that the kids are unsupervised on the dock, but then sees in a book that sharks
flipping through the book.
Sharks can bite through the bottom of the boat.
She sees the picture and she's like, "Get out of the boat! You heard your father!"
Because she's like, "Oh, let him go. He's just sitting in his boat." Hey, you heard your father. Let him.
I like the mom.
I did too. I was like, she was so pretty. Like I was like, she's got a little bod.
Yep. She's a hot to trot little lady.
So 2 fishermen are out trying to win the bounty, but the shark pulls the whole dock in, and the fishermen just missed being eaten in the slowest rescue ever. I put like he's like the other guy's like holding out his hand. And it's like
go faster,
go
faster.
And I'm like, yeah, grab it.
Because you don't see the shark.
No,
you just see
the water
and the dock.
And the dock, yeah.
He ripped off the dock because he had the fishing poles attached to it, and so then you see the dock coming back. Because you don't see the shark until like an hour into this movie, an hour and a half into this movie. You just assume it's the shark because you've been told, but you don't see it.
Yep. Which is fabulous. Fabulous.
The suspense, yes. Yeah. So good. So well done.
So the fishermen from all over now are swarming the town for the bounty. Matt Hooper arrives from the mainland. He's an oceanographer, and that is Richard Dreyfuss. Mm-hmm. And he's convinced... that everybody headed out will die. He's like, well, I was like,
they're all gonna die. Bye.
Yep. And he's like, so I said, this is the only movie that I've ever seen Richard Dreyfuss in that I genuinely
enjoyed him.
Yes.
Because every other time he's like
he's
that
the pill.
obnoxious.
Yeah. He's like the over anal retentive.
Yeah,
you know,
hung
this
up
one,
on everything.
He's like totally like laid back and just like, I mean, some things like he's like, no, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but he's not
he's
taking
stubborn
serious.
on certain things.
But like for the most part, he's like, okay, you're all gonna die.
Yeah, he's much more lighthearted in this.
He is. I really enjoyed him in this movie. So his name is Matt Hooper. Yeah, and like they're like Brody's trying to like put out fires all over the place essentially because like these people are overloading boats. They're all trying to go out in the ocean to catch this shark. And
he's got a horrible deputy assisting him.
Yeah, at first he thinks that Matt Hooper is just another fisherman. So he's like, can you tell your people not to overload?
My favorite part of this one is he's on the phone with somebody like putting out a fire and his deputy's outside the window. He like throws something at the window to get his attention. He just goes, he's like, get in here.
Yes, exactly.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah. It's such a small town.
Yeah.
Like,
they have no idea what they're doing.
Okay, so Matt examines the remains of the girl and confirms that this was no boating accident.
He was ready to barf.
And that it was a shark attack, corpse. For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hooper, and you could just see, like, there's teeth marks. Like, there's a jaw outline, you know, like... Hooper also says that the shark must be larger than normal as a smaller shark was caught by fishermen and is assumed to be the offending shark by the town. Everybody's out there celebrating.
We got him!
The mayor's
Open the beaches!
Yeah, I know, right? All are celebrating in town, but Hooper believes it is not the shark responsible. And Martin initially is celebrating, but is sobered as Hooper says the bite radius is not the same.
Yeah, it's too small to have eaten this girl.
And Hooper wants to examine the stomach contents of this shark that they caught.
And this shark was huge.
It was pretty big, yeah.
It was like, ugh!
Yeah, so there's a second one.
Mm-hmm. And this one was a tiger shark.
Yeah.
Which isn't normally in these waters.
Right, so he said, okay, like that could prove something.
It could be, yeah.
It's like, but it doesn't match the bite radius on the girl, and... we don't have any of Alex Kinter left.
Yeah, and the mayor was like, well, we can't cut this open and have Alex Kinter fall out in front of the crowd.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was
so
like,
let's not do an autopsy.
Which
like,
is
move it away. Yeah,
like take it maybe to the coroner's office to do it. You know, like one would do. I didn't say cut it open right here on the dock.
Right, with the crowd.
Mrs. Kintner arrives all in black with a veil on and slaps Martin Brody for allowing swimming after the girl has already attacked the previous evening, and he knew and he didn't say anything, which that was crappy.
Yeah.
But that was the mayor too.
Yeah, it was the mayor's fault because he tried to close the beach, but he let the mayor walk over him and do it. This scene, they had to film it so many times because she couldn't do a fake slap.
Oh, no.
And so they had to do it real. And so, like, they had to keep, like, doing different takes. And he said it hurt so bad.
I bet. Chief Brody realizes he was wrong and starts getting guilt gut. Matt Hooper comes to the Brody home where Martin is visibly upset and helps himself to Martin's dinner because he's not eating. He's like, anybody eating this? He's like,
he just goes for it. Good for him. He brought wine.
Yeah, he was like, he brought white and red. I didn't know what you were serving. So,
and he and the wife have a little banter back
and
forth.
And it's like, it seems like they didn't even know he was coming to their house.
Yeah, they
didn't. He just shows up. Like, okay.
In the book, they have an affair. They chose to cut that out of the movie.
Good.
I think rightfully so. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have liked.
No, I wouldn't have liked it either. Yeah, so I think that was part of the back and forth, sort of a nod to the book, but didn't go there.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't either.
Like that one bit. And you know what? This movie just moves it's such a surface movie of its time. Like, there's no deep dives in this movie. It's very on the surface. Yeah. So, like, I think that would have been a mistake to leave that in. It wouldn't have fit the rest of the movie.
No. There frankly wasn't time for it.
No, exactly. It was already 2 hours.
2 hours, 10 minutes.
Yeah, it went fast though.
It did.
To me.
Yeah, there was like one part in the middle where I was like, I feel like this has gone on a little long, but okay.
Was it when they're on the boat?
Yes. Yeah. It was like the same thing happened like 9 times. It's like, all right, we understand it's not working.
Matt explains his love of sharks since childhood and that the shark caught is not the offending shark. Hooper is leaving the next day for a research mission at sea for 18 months. And Martin Brody pours wine like I do. It's like
in a glass. Like his wife brought little wine glasses over, and he pours it in his water cup.
Drinking glass.
Yeah. to the top, and then pours the rest of them like something little. And he's got this like little grin on his face, like
yeah. Well, he was like he kind of nods it over to Hooper. He's like, yeah,
like I'll take some.
Yeah. Okay. And he goes with Hooper to cut the shark open and investigate the one caught because he's only got Hooper till the morning.
Mm-hmm. He's like, let's go. Let's autopsy this shark right here, right now.
Hooper confirms the shark caught is not the correct one. There's nothing in it, though, like of any substance.
No human remains.
No,
whatsoever.
It's all like fish.
A license
trash.
plate.
Yeah, he's like, it would make sense if it came from the south up to here.
Because it was a Louisiana license plate.
Yeah. Okay. Martin is upset. He needs to close the beach again, and that a rogue shark is still out there. Martin must go with Hooper on the boat to find the shark, and they're now so like now on a boat, and Martin hates the water. He protests.
He hates boats and water.
Why did you move to Amity then?
His wife made him, probably.
But dumb, like
I know of all the gigs.
I know. So Hooper sights Ben Gardner's boat with equipment abandoned in the water because they're out kind of just looking for the shark.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I know that boat.
And he sees something on the radar, and he was like, oh, there's something over there. And at first I thought it was gonna be the shark, but it was a boat abandoned.
Yes.
And so Matt gets out and like swims up kind of to see it, and he's
in his scuba gear.
Yeah, he sees that a shark has attacked it, and Ben is a fisherman, probably going for the bounty.
Mm-hmm.
And this boat is it's wrecked. It's just by itself. Hooper dives in the water to examine the abandoned boat and finds a large shark tooth in the hole along with Gardner's head.
Oh my gosh, the jump scare.
Me too.
This.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because he pulls out this tooth, and there's like a hole in the boat where the tooth is, and he's examining it, and then the head just kind of floats over. Yeah.
And it's all like bug eyes. It's like, ah! Yeah.
And he's startled, and he drops the tooth.
Yeah.
Drops.
It was a big
He had a flashlight, dropped that too.
Yep.
And I mean, it makes sense for his character because, like, earlier in the autopsy, he was like,
looking
at the girl. So, like, to see a head now was probably horrific for him.
Yes.
Mr. Science Boy does not enjoy human remains.
No, he does not. So he's going back up to the surface, and then the next morning, Hooper and Brody brief the mayor that the shark, that is the offending shark, is a great white. And the attacks will continue as they are attracted to splashes like those of the people swimming. Mm-hmm. Mayor still does not want to close the beaches for the 4th of July the next day.
Do you have the tooth?
Yeah, because he's like, he found a tooth that was huge. He's like, well, do you have it?
Do you have it? How do you know?
He dropped it. Well,
you don't have the tooth.
Yeah.
So. And it's like, what would that? You don't know what you're looking at. I'd be like, yeah, I have the tooth.
Yep.
It's a great white.
The mayor ignores the warnings and keeps the beaches open as the next huge ferry of vacationers arrives. Like a double-decker ferry.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hooper, and it's filled with people.
Filled to the brim. Everybody's coming on the island now.
Hooper and Brody make dozens of calls for help to get the shark and monitor the ocean and the shore of the packed beach with no one in the water.
Yeah.
Because everybody's just on the beach, but nobody's in the water. And the mayor is trying to urge people into the water. I said, why?
Again,
why?
They're out. They're gonna go spend money.
Right. And like, they're already there. Like, just because they're not in the water doesn't mean, like, it's so dumb.
If anything, close down your ferries.
Yeah. And the family that listens to him, goes out and others follow.
Again, it's like an older couple with children. That's like, children. You seem too young to have these children. Yes. Or too old to have these children. Yes.
And others follow them in, and then everybody's in the water.
They're like, oh, okay, now let's go splash and have fun. Somebody else went first, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah, which is the dumbest. Okay, whatever. Brody urges his son to take his boat and put it in the pond instead of the ocean, and Michael begrudgingly agrees. Because,
he's like, come on, Dad. My friends want to go out in the ocean. He's like,
nope.
No, go in the pond.
A shark fin appears in the water, and people panic, splashing and leaving the water, but the fin is fake, and 2 kids playing a joke is revealed to be. However, a real shark is spotted heading to the pond where Michael is.
Yes, and some girl spots it, and she's like, a shark. There is a shark.
Yeah,
there's a shark.
Yeah.
And like, at this point, there's so much hullabaloo with these 2 little boys that
nobody's
they're not
paying attention.
Yeah, and like the guys, the police or whatever, who are supposed to be watching the waters are dealing with the little boys. They're pulling them out of the water and like reprimanding them. Yeah. So it's getting unnoticed.
The shark eats another boater who's in the in the pond.
He's like in a little canoe.
Yep, he eats him alive as the kids struggle to stay on the boat and out of the water.
A lot of blood.
And Michael freezes in shock and is hospitalized. They finally do get him out, but Brody asks the mayor to hire Quint to kill the shark because apparently Quint's the only man for the job.
Yep, and I think the 10 grand is worth it at this point.
Yep. Quint calls the shots for his expedition, and Hooper wants to go along to help, but worries Hooper is too city to be of use. Quint is worried.
He's like looking at his hands. You got city hands.
Yeah, you got city hands.
You gotta do work here on the sea. His grizzled sweater he's got on, like true fisherman.
Yeah. Quint, in July we're wearing our fisherman.
Everybody was like, I mean, granted, sometimes it's not always warm just yet.
Right.
But it seemed a little.
We're
going to hang out in the beach in our bathing suits, but then we come back in our sweaters and parkas.
Quint finally agrees, and Hooper brings anti-shark cage, which Quint mocks. Brody is also going, and Brody's wife, tells the kids, she's like, what am I going to tell the kids? He's like, tell them I'm going fishing.
Which I was thinking, why are you bringing this inexperienced guy?
Right. He seems not
who
abused.
Hates the water.
Right.
What's he going to help with?
Right.
And Quint had this right-hand man who was always kind of following around. He doesn't go, though.
No.
Why did he come along?
Maybe that guy didn't want to go.
He's smarter than the rest of them.
So the 3 men leave on the Orca, that's the boat name, to hunt the shark.
Which I love this because orcas are the only
known
predator of the great white shark.
I love it. That's a great nod. And they leave chum markers as bait, and Hooper yells Brody for fumbling the compressed air tanks as Quint acts like the father of the group, and he's like, hey, don't yell at him, blah, 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 and then he's like, hey, next time I'll tell you which one to pull, which not to pull, and blah, 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 blah. He's refereeing, essentially.
Yeah, so Hooper brought all this equipment with him,
to
fancy
dive.
stuff. Yeah, including the air tanks for if he has to go in his scuba nonsense.
Quint gets a bite that takes a ton of line but goes under the boat as Quint realizes the shark's intelligence. He's just kind of...
under the boat?
Yeah, he's just hiding out, waiting for him. Yeah, he's not even...
He's a super shark.
Yep. Hooper believes it's another big fish, not the shark. But suddenly all is quiet and they relocate the boat, and just nothing. Okay, we're just going to move on from that now. Quint orders Brody to dump more chum, and doing so sees the shark and informs Quint that he'll need a bigger boat because it's the first time we see the shark.
And it's
huge. And it's that famous scene with Brody with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth,
he's just
and
he doesn't even shout, just slowly walk. That's why his kid went into shock.
Yeah,
because he just walks over and was like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat."
Yeah, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Which he ad-libbed that line.
Did he?
Yep.
Nice.
I love it.
It's the most famous line from this movie. So Quint and Hooper also spot the shark and estimate that he's a 25-foot shark that weighs about 3 tons for weight. Mrs. Brody calls the boat as Hooper and Brody are struggling with the shark, and Quint lies saying, Brody's fishing. Yeah,
he's great. He's having a good time. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I gotta go. Bye. Mrs. Brody on the phone.
Mrs. Brody.
Yeah. Quint takes aim at approaching shark, and Hooper ties off a barrel to harpoon rope, which I didn't understand any of this, but sure. And the barrel
at first I was like, what are we doing with this barrel?
And the barrel disappears as night falls, and Brody wants to call it. So I get it later on because they're trying to make him get towards the surface.
Yes, it's a tracking device.
Yeah.
So it's attached to him, so when he goes under, the barrels go under. But when he's near the surface, these barrels are back up.
And if there's too many barrels, he's not going to be able to go as deep. He's not going to have the strength. Yeah, it's going to keep him close.
So they're trying to get these barrels attached to him. So one, they know where he is, and 2, they can slow him down.
Yep. Okay. So, the barrel disappears, night falls, Brody wants to call it. He's like, okay, well, we're going home, right?
Let's go home. They're like, no, we're spending the night out here. He's like, darn it.
Quint knows more barrels are needed as Hooper and Quint compare scars in the cabin. That was a fun part.
And Brody holds up his shirt. He's got an appendix scar. Yeah. And he just puts it back down, doesn't say anything.
As Quint reveals, well, that's too far up to be an appendix scar. Your appendix down.
It said it was an appendix scar.
Oh, it was too far up what they were showing, I think.
It was a real appendix scar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I just...
It was probably just the way it was, too.
Okay.
And it was the 70s. They probably cut much higher back then. They went big.
True. Okay. So yeah, they're comparing scars in the cabin as Quint reveals he was on the USS Indianapolis that was torpedoed and men fought off shark after it sunk. And that the sharks have lifeless eyes, black, like a doll's eyes.
As we were watching this, my husband, like, he said, the USS Indianapolis, and he was like, oh, that's the one! It's like, everybody he knew immediately, like, that was the shark-riddled boat.
Oh, gosh. I need to look into that more, because I was not familiar with that.
It was a very accurate
Her
story.
husband was in the Navy, so that's,
he knows these sorts of things.
And 100 men were lost by sharks on that attack on, I put it was June 29th, 1945, and he said 1,100 men went in the water and 316 came out, with sharks taking the rest. Oh, and Quint says he will never wear a life jacket again as it attracted the sharks and made them bait, essentially. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? So horrible. That's why, like, he's going all these rafts and and the buoy at the beginning. Like,
yeah, he's always after he sees the other stuff.
So the men start singing drinking songs as the night goes on, and the shark returns.
They are wasted. Yeah. And I'm like, we need our wits about us, fellas.
Right.
There's a 3-ton shark out there.
Right. Shark returns and eats the boat,
they are singing so loudly, drumming.
Oh, it eats the boat light. The light. Yeah, so it cuts the power, too. So
and you see, like, it ramming in, it's letting water into the boat. They start to realize what's happening.
Yeah, like ruh-roh. All the men are now on the deck awaiting the shark, but morning comes. The boat has a lot of damage assessed in the daylight, and a barrel resurfaces from under the boat. So he's just hanging out waiting, essentially.
He's toying with them.
The shark rises to the surface, and Brody calls the Coast Guard for a mayday, which Quint doesn't like, and Quint destroys the radio. I'm like, sir.
Yeah.
That seems like a little overreacting.
Right. It was like, you could interrupt and say, never mind, we don't need it.
Right.
Don't smash your only communication when you already have a damaged boat.
I know. A second barrel is now in the shark as the men are alone at sea without help coming, and the orca follows the second barrel. The third harpoon and barrel is fired as Brody also shoots the harpoon. Brody and Hooper are bumbling as they secure barrels, and the boat is nearly tipped over from the shark's strength.
Again, if you hadn't brought Brody and instead brought an experienced fisherman, you wouldn't be so bumbly here.
I agree. Yeah, because Hooper is not 100%.
Right, Hooper knows how to tie the knots and do the things, but he's not a fisherman.
He's a book smart guy. He's not
out
fisherman.
Here fishing for these things. He's studying them.
Right. The shark is too strong, and the men struggle to hold on to the barrel with ropes attached to the shark so Quint cuts the rest of the barrels off. I put 3 barrels. Quint assures the men that the shark can't stay under with 3 barrels attached to it, but admits to Hooper he's never hunted a shark before. So all this talk from Quint, and we find out he's never done this before either.
He seemed like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know how he learned all that.
Right. The library books.
Yeah, he read the books in Brody's house.
Quint makes a call to go to shallow water as the shark follows them, but Quint is putting too much pressure on the boat.
Which I didn't understand this either.
Right. As a fire starts below deck, stranding the boat at sea, half sinking. And like Hooper says, hey, you're pushing this too far.
Like, it's not a race here. Right. But he's just...
I do not understand a lot of Quint.
No, I think he's just a drunken sailor most of the time.
And he's just a rogue. He's rogue like the shark.
And I think he doesn't want anybody telling him what to do.
I think so too.
And just because Hooper said it, he's like, well, now I'm really going to keep pushing it.
So they're at sea now, half sinking. Quint hands out life vests and finally is willing to ask Hooper about his fancy equipment he brought.
Now that he's got nothing else.
The men assemble the shark-proof cage for Hooper to go in and inject the shark with a lethal substance.
Shark-proof is key here.
Yeah, that's what they say. And like, again, it's like he can't get... It's got to kind of be like harpooned in though, right? Because he can't like puncture the shark with this needle.
Yeah, it's got to go like into his digestive system.
Yeah. Okay, so... Hooper is lowered down in the cage and sees the shark approaching, but it just swims by. The shark comes back, sneaking up on Matt from behind, causing him to drop the harpoon injection.
Which I know you're underwater, but like still when you hear like it's this huge thing, you think you hear something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't spent time underwater, so I can't say for sure.
I agree. The shark destroys the cage wall, and Matt escapes from the top, and the shark eats the cage. Quint and Brody think that Hooper's still in it. So
they end up pulling up the cage.
What's left of the cage.
And it's destroyed, and he's like, he's not in it. And I'm like, well, he's dead.
Yep.
Where you see him swim off and like hide.
Yeah.
He's hiding underwater. It's such an odd thing to think about, but...
What's left of the cage is brought to the boat deck, and the shark jumps aboard too and eats Quint. He just flops himself up. Yeah.
And
eats Quint.
Quint like slides it. It is a horrific thing to look at.
It's like right down to his mouth.
If you are squeamish, avoid this scene because there is a lot of blood and you see a lot of biting.
Yes. The boat is now taking on a lot of water, and the shark comes back for Brody, who feeds the shark air tanks. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of chilling in its mouth. He doesn't swallow it.
I was at this whole point like. This probably wouldn't happen with those air tanks. I was informed by my husband that they wouldn't explode. They wouldn't do things like that.
But they're pressurized.
And I said, like, I was like, well, this is also different. He's like, these are our air tanks, because he's a fireman. Yeah. And he was like, this is what we have at work. This is what's on my back. It doesn't do that. And I was like, but this is the 70s. Could it be something different, too?
Think about oxygen. You're not allowed to smoke with an oxygen tank because of firewoods. Like, if a spark maybe from the harpooner, I don't know if that would even happen.
I have no idea.
But maybe that combined with the oxygen.
Yes. But I think as I was reading about the movie, too, I think it said, like, it probably wouldn't happen. Okay. But either way, I'm thinking, like, okay, so you have to be very careful not to puncture this or it'll explode. It's sitting in his mouth. He didn't pressurize this at all. Like, didn't put any pressure. No tooth caught this.
Can we just say your husband's wrong? He'll never see this. He's
yeah.
You're wrong, Sean.
He's wrong.
But, okay. So who feeds the shark the air tank? Okay, so the boat is sinking. And Brody is stuck moving to the crow's nest. Yeah. It's very Titanic-esque. Like, he's just like...
It's tipping down. Yeah, he's going to the highest point.
The shark is after Brody as he's hearing the water with the sinking boat. And Brody shoots the tank in the shark's mouth. He's like waiting for an opportunity for the shark. He's like, come on, give me, smile
come
for
here,
me.
Come here.
Yeah, smile for me.
Does he have a gun or a harpoon? I don't remember. I think it was a gun. I want to say it's a gun.
Yeah. It's a gun. Yeah, because he was shooting at nothing before.
Yeah, he was like firing randomly.
Yeah, so, and Brody finally shoots the tank in the shark's mouth, blowing him to pieces. Hallelujah.
It exploded.
Yeah. It's like, chum, is that
the birds come in.
Brody celebrates, but realizes that he's all alone.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, and then you see it on his face, like,
what am I going to do now?
Like,
because the boat's sinking.
I'm going to die here. Like, he's in the middle of the ocean. There's no land around.
As Matt resurfaces after swimming away.
After hiding during all the action here. Which he was smart to do, because he would have been eaten.
Both men laugh, reunited, and Brody delivers the news that Quint didn't make it. Both get on barrels and swim / float to shore as the tide is working with them.
Yeah, they're like pedaling together. Yeah, he like mentions it like, well, we got the tide.
He's like, what day is this? And he's like, oh, I think the tide's working with us. And Brody remarks that he used to hate the water, and Hooper can't imagine why, as the men approach the shore, surviving. And, like, you kind of, if you watch the end of the credits, because it rolls the credits up, get to the shore.
Yeah, get to the shore.
You see it's from the beach's perspective. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, so they made it.
They made it, yeah.
We're not left in limbo.
But that's, like, I was like, I wanted to see some aftermath after this. Like, return to town.
I was curious, like, how it was going to be handled. Like,
I haven't seen any of the sequels.
I haven't either.
So I don't know if that's addressed ever, but...
Yeah. So, fun fact, there was a ride at Universal Studios for many years.
At Florida and at California.
California, yeah. Hollywood. So, from the year 2000 to 2012, it was open.
It was way earlier than 2000.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, because we went 94.
I don't think we did that.
But we might not have rode it. I think it was down then, but it was aimed to be one of the opening day attractions. It did not make it to be. It was They had too many problems with it, but it was in like the early 90s that it did open.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe
it was not an opening day attraction at Universal Studios Florida.
We went on this ride, and I have this clear, vivid memory of you're like on a boat, and they're like, it's like the river guy guiding you through, and then like you're in Amity, like it looks like Amity, and then you're on this boat, and then this shark starts coming and terrorizing your boat, whatever. Yeah. But there's this moment where it like comes up, and I still have this clear. I feel like Dad made me sit on the end. He was like. You're good. Like, you knew I was scared and was like, yeah, you're gonna experience. I don't know if he did or not. I was probably in the middle.
Probably.
But I was
you probably weren't anywhere near the end.
horrified. And I remember not wanting to watch this movie when he wanted to show it to us because I was like, that stuck with me how scary it was. I was traumatized by this ride.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Yeah, and it was a great ride, but the problem was it would break down all the time. They had a lot of problems upkeeping the animatronic sharks.
There was a couple of them.
There's actually chatter that because they filled it in to make the Harry Potter land.
Yeah.
And there's chatter that one of the animatronics is still buried, like it was like filled in, you know, because they just didn't have anything to do with it.
Right over town.
One of them resurfaced a couple years ago. It's funny because it like people were like, well, what happened to the animatronics after this? Because what the neat thing about Universal, they actually have a store in the park where you can buy like screen or ride used items once they like retire them.
Yeah.
So it's not like always like Disney where they archive them. Like a lot of things they're just selling off.
Yeah.
And so the one, this guy was like looking at a house, like a property, and I forget if it was Georgia or someplace. And there was like a shark out by the pool. And he's like, they were using it as a decoration next to some like potted plants. And he's like, this looks so much like the one that used to be on the ride. Here it was one. The guy that owned the house was one of the people who helped design the ride. And he just took it after they did the ride. And it was like in terrible condition because it was just out in the elements. But like, he's like, nobody paid two thoughts to this shark that was just out there.
Funny.
So what actually ended up happening, it did get refurbed, and it's actually at some bar in New Jersey or New York now.
That's
it's
cool.
like their main thing. Like it's inside now. But yeah, like nobody really knew what happened to like half of these animatronics. Because there was a couple, because they would have a different one for each point in the ride.
Yeah,
like, it's
different
not like
scenes.
the same
this one's not moving.
You.
Yeah. And like the one at the end scene, because how it ends in the ride is like it bites this high voltage line and gets electrocuted. So it's like this like mangled.
That was one of the
blackened
shark. There was a couple endings. Yeah, there was like one where it eats a fisherman in a boat.
Yeah, I remember that too. I remember like because you see the fisherman like sticking out.
Yeah. Do you remember that you can go that they take you in the boathouse and it attacks you in the boathouse?
Yes, because you go into this dark.
It's dark. Yeah. Yeah.
It's horrible.
It was a freaky ride, but it was really good. But it would close all the time. So I think maybe the first time we went, it wasn't open, or maybe we did ride it both times. I don't know. We went in '94 and we went in '99. But if you go now, there's like a little nod to Amity. They don't have a ride or anything, but they have like a little facade like for restaurants, and then they have Bruce the shark hanging up. Like,
his name is Bruce.
Yeah. And if you go to Hollywood, Universal Studios Hollywood, and take their tram tour, there's still a section where you can go through Amity.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
but it's not cool. It's not the whole ride like it was. But it was a neat ride. If you ever look up on YouTube, you can see there's a bunch of footage of it. I don't remember if it was Florida or Hollywood. Somebody fell in one of the very early testings of it. Like, there was a guest. It wasn't like somebody who worked for the park.
Oh my goodness.
But that's like where the rumor came up that you could like it actually attack somebody, like the animatronic, because like
so realistic.
Because the guy like fell overboard. And
oh my gosh,
I think there was a lawsuit, but nothing ever happened from it. But
that traumatized.
Do you have any other fun facts?
I'm trying to remember. There was something with the actual sharks they had to film the movie, like one. Like, it ended up sinking to the bottom, and they had to, like, go down and retrieve it or something.
Did you see at the end, too, like, there were, like, people who did all the shark footage? Like, like there was, like, a husband and wife or something who, like, were responsible for all, like, the true shark.
Yeah. And then...
they did have a lot of problems with... And a lot of the sharks from the movie didn't survive because they were just destroyed from doing the movie.
Yeah. The props, not
ones. Sorry, and like Spielberg was like spent like a ton on these sharks.
I know that
he's the one who called
the famous theme. Who did it?
Spielberg.
No, who did the
song?
I
don't know. It's not
Williams.
Oh,
I forget his name. But so he first played it and they didn't love it at first. They were like, I don't know, and then it ends up being this iconic.
Two notes.
Yeah. But so then it's this iconic thing, and then so he ended up winning an Academy Award for Best Score. But at that Academy Award ceremony, he was conducting the orchestra, so he had to run up from the pit to accept his award and then run back down to continue conducting the orchestra for his playoff music.
And I think Spielberg's the one that came up with Bruce as the name for the shark.
Yeah, I forget why. There was a reason behind it. Now I forget. But that's how why in Finding Nemo, if you've ever seen Finding Nemo,
Bruce the shark.
Bruce is the shark as a nod to Jaws.
That's great. Yes. I love it.
And they went way over filming time. Like, it took so long. It was supposed to come out at Christmas, which...
That sounds like a terrible time to bring this up.
But I mean, that's a popular time when people go to the movies. But, and then historically, at this time especially, movies in the summer didn't do well. Because everybody's outside and, like...
They're at the beach!
Yeah, they're at the beach!
Swimming, not spending money!
Not swimming, yeah. They're not going to the movies. So they didn't want to release in the summer, but they ended up doing it. And then this was the first blockbuster where it immediately... made so much money. Good. And they're like, holy goodness, we hit the jackpot here.
Yes.
So when you hear the term blockbuster, it came from this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a history maker. And the reason we wanted to revisit it now, it is the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
It's weird that it's 50 years.
Right?
And it holds up.
It still holds up.
Movie.
Yeah. And I like that it wasn't like, I feel like sometimes now you watch a horror movie and there's like too many details you got to pay attention to.
Yes.
This was just like, I can veg out and kind of just...
Yeah, like I was into it the whole time, but I didn't have to be like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?
This little detail that I missed.
Like, oh, that was important. And like, the things that were important, like the air tanks, like, they said it several times.
Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't a one-off.
Yeah, like, you have to be careful with this. Like, they kept bringing it up, like, watch the tanks. Or, like, they, like, move something and one of these random shark things. Yeah, and they're watching the tanks, make sure they don't get jostled to explode.
Yeah.
So it was, like, it came back around then at the end and made sense. So I like that. Where it just, I don't have to, like, keep track of every little thing.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing that threw me off was Alex Kinter's mom. The lady who's a store owner then at the meeting looks so much like her. And I was like, is that his mom? Not bereaved at all?
Do you know the Alex Kinter story?
Yes! So, there is this sandwich shop. And the woman who played Alex Kinter's
Decades
later. Yeah, like... I don't even know, 90s maybe?
Yeah, I think it was even later than that. Maybe the 2000s.
The early 2000s, something like that. So she goes to the sandwich shop and they have an Alex Kinter sandwich. And she's like, oh, funny story. Like, I played his mom in the movie. Then out from the back of the kitchen comes the owner of the store, the little boy who played Alex Kinter. They hadn't seen each other in all those years.
Reunion in his sandwich shop.
Yeah,
and he was in the kitchen cooking. Over the Alex Kintner.
Yeah. So I love that.
I do too.
So cool.
I think that's so neat.
Brody only lived like 3 years after
really?
this.
Is that why he's not in much?
Like I don't know what his career was before this. Like I feel like I've seen him in things because he has so that familiar. Face. But it's like, is it just because you see these images of him all the time, him with the cigarette, and like, is it just because of this movie that I'm remembering him, or is there? I have no idea what it was. I forget. I didn't look, but yeah, like he died shortly after this came out. So.
And Richard Dreyfuss goes on like he was so young.
Oh, he's so young. Doesn't look like him at all from what I picture.
And again, I said this is the most enjoyable that I've ever felt about Richard Dreyfuss in any of his movies. Yeah. No offense, Richard Dreyfuss, but you're always playing the pill, and we get that. But it's
you gotta type.
You gotta type. Squirrels. Unless you have more.
No, initially I think my squirrels were high because I was scared.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't watch a lot of like gory things as kids, so like the blood was probably like
we weren't allowed to watch a lot of horror things.
Yeah. So like I could see it being a little drum. So I could say maybe like a 3 as a child.
Okay.
And it was a little long.
It was long.
For like a kid to sit through.
And like, again, like there was other things usually that we wanted to get back up, like go play a video game or go up.
Like other things we want to spend our time doing.
Yeah. So I would say as a kid, probably at least 3. I was thinking maybe even more than that. I was thinking maybe 5 or so.
Okay, I'll agree with you that. So yeah, that was squirrel heavy. I give it 0 squirrels now.
0!
I enjoyed it.
No squirrels. He's in his little stump because I love this movie.
He's in the shark's stomach.
When we rewatched this with my kid like a couple years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good, and I forgot
with your teens when you watched it.
And now like rewatching it, it was actually I got it done in 2 days. Like it was an easy watch. My 7-year-old likes this movie too. Like when you were like,
this kid was afraid of the weirdest things, and then not afraid.
He's afraid of asteroids, but like
he's afraid of asteroids. He was afraid of tornadoes there for a bit. He wouldn't let you open the bathroom window in case a tornado came up.
He still does it. Yeah.
We live in Pennsylvania. We don't get too many tornadoes.
Northeast Pennsylvania.
Yes.
That. And and he but he'll watch Five Nights at Freddy's, Jaws. He loved Jaws. This
kid.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas.
He's an anomaly.
He is an anomaly.
Watch our last movie. He made an appearance in Angels in the Outfield. You can see this little bugger. See what he's really like.
He's a special guy.
He's something.
But yeah, I would agree. Zero Squirrels Now.
Yeah,
great movie.
So good.
Holds up.
And it's great for the summer.
Yeah.
4th of July.
So celebrate the 50th anniversary and go watch if you haven't seen it, or revisit it if you have, because it is well worthwhile. Oh, another funny anecdote about this movie. Our parents, I was born in 1986 in July, and my parents watched this movie on TV the night before I was born. And when my mom woke up the next day, she told my dad, she started having labor pains in the night and, it was time to go to the hospital. But they had watched this right before bed.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she tells me all the time. She was like, we watched Jaws the night before you. I am a Jaws baby.
It was the stress of watching Alex Winter be eaten alive. And she was like, oh, gosh.
I think Quint might have been pretty bad, too. But yeah. And think about the popularity of the names. Quint, Hooper, and Brody. They were all probably the last names, but those are all very popular kid names.
Yeah, it's catching on now.
But we thank you for joining us here at Sisters and Ebert. Sorry if this was a little lengthy. This is a movie we love and has a lot of little anecdotes to it. So we thank you for joining us. If you look down at the description below this video, you will see we have links to all of our social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Sisters and Ebert. And we would love for you to come and socialize with us and engage and comment, subscribe, follow, all the things. You'll get updates from when we post our teasers on Friday for what movie's coming up on Monday. And on Mondays is when we post our new videos to YouTube. So
Monday.
Yes, we really look forward to interacting with everybody. Comment if you've seen the movie, if you have strong feelings or not so strong feelings about this movie. And we'll see you next week at the movies.